G'day guys and welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video we will be going through my 2022 AFL season predictions. The 2022 AFL season is really close to us now, and what a better way to getting into it than doing my tips and predictions for the entire season. Today we will be going through my ladder from 18th to 1st position. We'll be going through my Brownlow, Coleman, Rising Star and also the Premiers, who I think will win it all this season. Without further ado, we'll get straight into it and we'll start off with the AFL 2022 ladder. So starting it off, 18th position on the AFL ladder, I've gone with the Gold Coast Suns. Very stock standard, generic answer, but they just don't bring anything. They don't have the list to rise, and obviously this is a very generic answer, but I just don't see them finishing out of that bottom 4 position. If Matt Rowell can get up to his best form like he did in 2020, maybe they could have a chance of somehow sneaking into the 8, but in my opinion, I don't see them having a good year, and their whole career has just been really poor. They haven't shown or done anything to prove them as at least a half decent side, so I'm going to put him in 18th position. Moving on now, 17th position, we have the 2020 Wooden Spooners, the Adelaide Crows. Now once again with the Crows, they played a pracky match against Port. Now obviously Port, pretty good team nowadays in the league. However, they lost by nearly 100 points. A lot of the practice matches had some quite big margins in them, but the Crows don't see them bringing much to the table, and I think they will finish bottom 4. Moving on to 16th now, we have the Collingwood Magpies. Now they are just slack. Last year, well, probably one of their most disappointing years ever, making the grand final in 2018 and then dropping off form so much over the next 3 years is just super poor, and I don't see them winning too many games. Maybe at most 5 to 6 wins for the Pies this year, but I don't see them getting out of that bottom 4 position. Now moving on to 15th position, we have North Melbourne. Obviously they did win the Wooden Spoon last year, however I think they'll rise a little bit up on the table, but I don't think they'll be showing anything too fancy. Their skills, their list isn't too bad, but I just don't think they've got the experience yet with their list, and I don't think, they're in a bit of a rebuilding stage at the moment, the North Melbourne Kangaroos. Moving on to 14th now, this is where we get a bit controversial. I've put the West Coast Eagles. Wow, losing to the Dockers by 97 points in a practice match. I don't think that shows that you are ready to take on what the season throws at you in 2022. Absolutely anything can happen. And if you're losing against the Dockers in a practice match by 97 points, I don't think you're going to have too good of a season. Moving on to 13th position, I've put the Richmond Tigers. Now the Tigers are a bit of an interesting team in the competition at the moment. They can either rise and play their top brand of footy, which is the best in the league, or they can probably play some of the worst footy in the league as well. In my opinion, I do see the Tigers possibly somehow making the 8, but that is only if they bring their best form to the table, and I feel like they could finish, they range around maybe 7th to about 13th where I've put them, but I just don't see them having a good season. And the fact that they lost to the Suns last year, and last year just some really disappointing results for the Tigers, I don't think they'll be coming into this season with too great of form. Moving on to 12th position now, we've got the Hawthorn Hawks. Now, it might be a bit controversial that I've put the Hawks over Richmond and West Coast, but I feel like the Hawks, they've got an alright list, a bit of an up-and-coming list, but I feel like they have what it takes to get some upset wins on the board, get some nice percentage up. And 12th position for the Hawks, I feel like the fans should be pretty good with that. I think I've done them quite generous in 12th position. Now moving on to 11th position, I have the Carlton Blues. And yes, I know the fans are going to go off at me in the comments. I feel like the Blues are one of those teams that could range possibly 5th position in this year's season, but I just don't see it happening just yet. Over the past 6 years, they've been saying they're going to make finals every year, and it just never happens. They never live up to their expectations, the Blues. So I've got them in 11th spot, but currently while I'm filming this video, they're actually beating Melbourne in a pracky match in the Amy Community Series. The Blues are one of those teams that can just range from inside the top 8, probably not top 4, but I would say maybe from 5th to around 12th. Moving on to 10th position now, we've got the St Kilda Saints. I feel like it could be a perfect position to put the Saints, because I feel like they could range as well, maybe from about 6th to maybe 13th or so. So I've put it around the middle, and I feel like 10th is just the ideal spot to put the Saints, as they have a decent list. However, injuries having a big say on what outcomes are going to happen maybe in the start of the season. St Kilda are currently struggling a lot with their injury list, so they need to somehow pull out a real good brand of footy without those really inclusive players in the side, and probably have to get a very good start to the year. The Saints are one of those teams that really do struggle with the injury list at times, and as we can see in this pre-season, they haven't done well with the injuries at all. So I feel like they're going to have their not very experienced players step up a lot in the first couple of rounds, first 5 to 10 rounds, and they really need to get some early wins on the board. Moving on to 9th position, we have the Essendon Football Club. Now, the Bombers, last year in the season predictions, everybody predicted them to come bottom 4, and I'm not sure why. They ended up making the finals, but I actually don't see the reason behind putting them bottom 4 last year, but I've got the Bombers coming in 9th. Now, the Bombers, another team that can really range from a few positions. They could finish probably as close as 5th, and then probably finish as far down as maybe 12th. So I've got them 9th, not quite yet in finals, but I feel like it will be a race between 9th and 8th position getting into the final series. Moving on to the top 8 now. In 8th position, I've got the Freo Dockers. I'm not sure if this one is quite biased, just because I am a Dockers fan myself. However, I think the Dockers, they've got the list. We've been up and coming for around 6 to 7 years now. We haven't made finals since I think 2016 we finished bottom 4. 2015 was the last time we made finals. So I think it's our time to shine. We've got the list, we've got the strength. Our injuries aren't too bad at the moment, but however, last year injuries did cost us with a lot of games, a lot of results last year. So hopefully they don't get in the way, and hopefully we can secure 8th position. Moving on to 7th spot on the ladder, I've got the GWS Giants. Now, the Giants are one of the teams that can easily finish outside the top 8. However, I think I've got faith in the Giants. I feel like they will make it into the 8. Their list is quite good. Their off-season training has been really good as well. I feel like the Giants, one of the teams that can absolutely get smashed by a really bad team and then get a really good win against a great team. So, going to put the Giants in 7th position, but could easily finish outside the top 8. Now, moving on to 6th position, I've got the Geelong Cats. Now, the Cats have finished top 4 a lot in the previous seasons, and I'm pretty sure they have made the finals, I think 13 out of the last 15 seasons. So the Cats, one of the most experienced sides in the league, you can easily say that. Their list is full of old players. Now, don't get me wrong, they are very experienced, but I feel like this is going to be their last good season. The Cats, they might prove me wrong next year, but I feel like this is going to be their last good year just before they drop off and they don't have a good enough list. Moving into 5th position now, I've got the Port Adelaide Power. Now, the Power, very good side. They just don't seem to secure very good brand of finals footy. I've got them just sitting outside the top 4 in 5th position. I feel like they're going to be an outstanding team, but just miss out on the 4. Moving into 4th position now, I've got the Sydney Swans. Now, this one could be quite interesting to some of the people out there, but don't get me wrong, because the Swans, absolutely crazy how they just came up in the 2021 season from, I think, finishing bottom 4 in 2020 to rise up that much in the ladder in 2021 and make the finals. I feel like they've got an experienced squad. They've got a really strong squad as well. Their chemistry is crazy, and the Swans are a really dangerous side. Moving into 3rd position, I was sort of weighing up who to put in this position. However, I've gone for the Western Bulldogs. Now, obviously, last year, terrific season. They had a terrific start, went, I think, 12 or 13-0 in the first 13 games of the season. However, towards the end of the year, their form dropped drastically, and they couldn't seem to pick up wins. They were losing against Hawthorn and all these terrible sides that were finishing bottom 4. So their form needs to stay consistent, and that drop of form at the end of last year really costed them a top 4 position. Now, obviously, the Dogs played the granny, got smashed last year. I just feel like they've still got the really big courage and the urge to get top 4, make final series, and have a real successful season. Moving into 2nd position, we've got the Brisbane Lions. Now, the Lions, really good in the home and away season. Outstanding, probably the best brand of footy we do see in the home and away season. However, when it comes to the finals series, we can just see a massive drop in form and chemistry and just the way they play their footy. Now, obviously in the home and away season, the Lions are terrific, play the best brand of footy you can ask for, but when it comes to the final series, they lose games, they drop games home and away in the finals. So I just don't think they've got what it takes just yet in the finals. I just don't think they've got they don't have the power to get it done in the finals, but their home and away brand footy is insane. They can beat anyone, anywhere. And in first position, I've got the reigning premiers, the Melbourne Demons, finishing top of the table. I don't think they're going to have as good as a year as last year. Don't get me wrong, they could have a better year than last year, to be honest. Their team is stacked with just guns left, right and centre. They've got Oliver, they've got Petrarca, they've got Fritsch down the forward line that can kick like 10 goals a game if he wanted to. Got the D's finishing in first. Don't think they'll go too far into the final series, but who knows? They could easily win 2 grand finals in a row, and the D's, look out for them in 2022. Alright, there are my ladder predictions from 18th to 1st for the 2022 season. Now we're going to be moving on to the medalist winners. So next up, we've got the Brownlow medal, and for the Brownlow, I've selected Marcus Bontempelli. Absolute gun in the midfield. Him, McRae, Treloar, just the Dogs midfield really links up well. And yeah, geez, what an absolute skipper to have Bontempelli for your side. He's probably one of the best midfielders in the league. And him, Track, Oliver, you got Steele. They are all really good favourites to be winning the Brownlow this year. Next up, we have the Coleman medal, and I've gone with Jeremy Cameron now. Obviously, last year had a bit of a slow start to the season, wasn't playing many games, I'm pretty sure due to an injury at the Cats. So, start of a new season, he's got a fresh start, fresh season ahead of him, and hopefully he will probably play every single game unless he does get injured. So, I'm going to pop him in as the Coleman medalist for this year. Moving on to the Rising Star, I'm not the best of knowledge with the young draftees. However, I've gone with Nick Dacos now, obviously 3rd pick in the draft this year. Jason Horne-Francis was first. However, we don't really see the number 1 pick get picked too often and play really good. It's usually around like 2nd to 6th pick. Pick number 1 don't always seem to play the best footy. It's usually picks 2nd to around 6th pick that usually play the best footy and get the Rising Star. So I don't think it'll be Jason Horne-Francis as number 1 pick, but I feel like Nick Dacos has a massive chance of winning it this year. And what you all have been waiting for, the premiers for 2022. This is a big call, very big call. I'm going to go with the Sydney Swans to win the premiership. I've got a lot of faith in the Swans. They've definitely got the squad and they've definitely got the power and courage to get it done this year. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. AFL content will be coming out a lot more consistently now that the season is about to commence. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you at the end of the season for my reaction to my predictions.